Have you ever connected a dropdown to a data source and you don't see the options to select, or you don't see the column that you want, or you don't know how to correctly get the selected item because it never works as you expect? Then you need to understand better about the properties for a dropdown when we are connecting to a table. This lesson is part of a complete course that I have. I'll leave in the pinned comments. Now let's go to the lesson. In the previous lessons, we started looking at the ComboBox, and then we saw that this array that's now commented can be replaced by a table function, and this will have the same effect. So right now, our input array has only one single table that has the column value, and that's why we put in the ComboBox name .selected.value. Now we are going to extend this a little bit to understand how to work with combo boxes or dropdowns or radio buttons or any other control that expects a table as input, because then we have some extra properties that we can work with. So let's take a look. I'm going to copy this dropdown, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, so we can expand its data. I paste it here. Its name is CBX department _1, but I'll put department 2. Just for us to know that this is the second one that we are using to understand better how it works. Now in the items property, instead of having a table with only one column, I'm going to add more columns to each row on this table. For example, for the human resources, I'm going to put the codes column. And I'm going to write HR, and also the ID column. And the ID is going to be 1. Now for finance, same thing. Let's put codes, that in this case is going to be fin, and the ID is going to be 2. And for IT support, let's add the codes, that's going to be IT, and the ID is going to be 3. Now, if we play the app and we access the dropdown, we still see the names. But once we select, we are not selecting just the name finance, we are selecting the entire row. That's very important to know, and here is where I see a lot of beginners getting in trouble because they don't understand this. So now if I want to read the data from this dropdown, let's copy this label and paste. Now we have the name of the second dropdown, so CBX department 2 dot selected dot value. I'm still reading finance, but now if I remove this dot value and put the dot again, I can see all the 3 columns that are in the row. So if I want to show the code of the selected department, I just put dot code. See, now I select by name, but I show the code. If I want to show the ID, I put dot ID. Then I see the ID of the selected item. I can show all of them. For example, I can have 3 texts and show one by one, but I want to understand that this dot selected means the entire row. So if I delete the dot ID and highlight this dot selected, we see that the data type is a record, because it's the same as if I go, in this case that I selected finance, select this row. So I have value, code, and ID. So now let me show again, dot selected dot value. And this works also if you connect a dropdown to any other data source, for example, a SharePoint list, an Excel table, a Dataverse table, any data source, or even an internal table like this one, that's a static table added in the items property. Sometimes we want to show one name, but use the other. So for example, we could show the name, but use the ID for any internal purpose, such as doing a lookup in another table or saving data. And in this case, imagine we need to save only the ID of the department, then we access like this. Another problem that sometimes happens is when you connect to the data source, you don't see the name here. You see other columns, such ID or such code, and you want to see the name, or you want to see any other column. For this, we have this fields property here in the right pane. This is also very important. For any control that receives a table as an input, we have this fields property. We can click on edit, And here we see the fields that are passed to this control to reflect in the interface. So if I go to add data field and select, for example, code and click on add, now if I play the app, I see the code here instead of the name. Imagine I want to show the name, so I come here to edit and I can put the value that I know that the value is the full name of the department. So I can move it to the top, and the one that's in the top is the one that's going to appear in there. Now if I play, I can see it in there. Sometimes you're going to play and you're just going to see a weird number, or it's going to be empty. That's why you need to go to the fields property. Very important to remember. All right, now that you understand about the items properties and the fields, imagine I'm playing the app and I want to reset what's selected. I want to unselect. How can we do that? Well, also for many controls, we have this reset function. So for example, I can insert a button that's going to reset my inputs. It's going to clear my inputs. So I'm going to put here close to the dropdown. For this button, I can remove the text, for example. So I'm going to remove this text and put an icon. That's the reset icon. This one maybe, error reset. And then in the onSelect of the button, I'm going to call a function that's going to reset this dropdown. So I need the dropdown name, Ctrl C. And then here in the onSelect of the button, I call the reset function. That's you learning a new PowerFX function. So close the parentheses. And now if I play and click on the button, it's going to clear the input once I press the button because it's resetting that drop-down. I could reset more and more controls selecting one single button by calling more reset functions. So if I put a semicolon now to separate the functions, I can call more functions in a row. And then I could call reset and then CBX department. That's the drop-down above it. Now if I play, it's going to reset both. Let's say that we need one of these values to be already selected by default, for example, finance. When I click reset, I want this one to have finance on it, even though if I have, for example, human resource, then I click reset and I want finance back. For this, we have another important property, that's the default selected items. This one, since it's default selected items, also expect a table. And then in this case, I could put something like this, square bracket, and the value that I want it to be default selected. Let's say finance. Well, since I put like this, it's a table with one column that has the value column. It's implicit here, but I know that the value is finance. Now if I click on reset, it didn't work because this one has more columns in the table. It's not just one single column. If I put this one in the first one that has only one column called value, it might work. Let's see. Default select items, then I paste here. And if I click on reset, that one works because it expects exactly the same record as we have in the items property. So if I want finance to work for this one, I need to have the exact same record structure. So if I go to the items property and copy this entire row or copy the table and go to the default selected items, I can paste it in here and then remove the others that I don't want. Then now we have the exact same structure. That's the finance row. So if we look at the table, we have code, ID, and value. Now if I play and change and click on reset, we go back to the default selected one. Keep in mind that we also have this option to have a default selected option because it might be important when you develop your real apps. So to summarize this lesson, the ComboBox receives a table, and this table can have multiple columns. The dot selected brings the entire row, and if you want to access a specific column, you need to put the dot and then the column name. The same pattern will appear again and again for other controls. You also learned how to reset controls and how to use the default selected items properties. In the next lesson, we are going to see how to use the date input and also look at some functions that will manipulate dates or return information about dates to us. See you in there. Thanks for watching. You're going to find the link to the full course in the pinned comments. And if you have Udemy for Business, you can already watch it without paying anything extra. If you don't have it, it's very affordable. I invite you to take a look. Now I'll leave you a recommended video. See you in there. Bye-bye.